Hello there, and welcome to this week's edition of Crazy Critique. Now, the newly released cinematic film that went to this week is a film that features not one heavyweight but two heavyweights of US cinema. One being Mr. Stephen Spielberg in the director's chair, and two, Mr. Tom Hanks in the acting chair, if you want. And the film is, of course, Bridge of Spies. Now, these two individuals, of course, are not unfamiliar to working with each other, having of course worked with each other for Saving Private Ryan and working with each other in The Terminal. Two very different films, showcasing different abilities of actor and director. And this film is a film that I think it's one of my favourite films of the year. The film revolves around Tom Hanks' character, who is a lawyer, and his company is asked to defend a individual who is suspected of being a Russian spy. So this is in the middle of the Cold War, and even though Tom Hanks has not had any recent previous experience of defending regarding criminality, he is dragged in and he finds the individual rather interesting and the case rather interesting. That could sound very boring, couldn't it? That sort of premise. And in certain cinema goers' eyes, it probably will be. But I found it a fascinating portrayal because of the individuals involved. Like I say, Tom Hanks as the lawyer, and in particular Mark Rylance, who plays the Russian spy. So we'll leave it to you if you believe he's guilty or not. Although I think we know the results quite quickly. But yeah, Rylance is kind of an award-baiting form here because he makes an absolute fabulous foil as the Russian spy Hanks is initially forced to defend. And you are fully engaged throughout this film. It is a long film. It is a 2-hour, 20-minute film. Of course, there's longer. But what Spielberg does well, he is a master storyteller, isn't he? He is a master storyteller. And this film is absolutely no different from that description. There is no doubt at times that Spielberg closely treads that sentimentality line, but he doesn't stray too far. And he just about gets it right on that sort of level. Hanks, as we know, is just he's as engaging and dependable as ever, isn't he? He's an ease of an actor. You can watch him in. You can even he's very rarely does rubbish, but you can actually watch him in rubbish and still enjoy his performance because he's an affable sort of actor. So that combination of brilliant Spielberg storytelling and an affable and warm portrayal of a man that Hanks that regularly does is a combination for success here. And there's a trial, of course. It all goes through that. It's quite, the way the film plays out isn't exactly how I thought it was going to. There's three acts. Yeah, there's three acts really. The first one is him sort of defending, and then I won't go into exactly the result of that because it will spoil it a little bit. But then it's sort of to do with things that go on with an American who is also caught behind enemy lines, and possibly there may be deals to be done. But like I say, what is engaging the most is Tom Hanks' performance, because in particular in exchanges with, say, judges or with I can't remember now. It must be CIA agents, and he is the absolute pro professional in his character and in his role, because he engages in sort of to and fro's with these characters in a way that completely make you be on his side for a start. So that's a great strength of an actor. But also to highly entertain you, and it must be said for the script writing, because who was it written by? I was flabbergasted when I saw this on the end credits. It was written by one individual I don't know, Matt Charman, is it? Yeah, and the other are Ethan and Joel Cohen. And the film is so tingling with that engaging and truly engaging dialogue that the Coens are known for, and it was no surprise at all. But I say it was a surprise. It was a surprise, but then when I thought about it a bit more, you know what? It wasn't too much because it was exactly the sort of thing you'd expect from those sort of writers. Obviously directors, but in this case, writers. And it's fabulous to see such a willingness of actually pro top level directors to actually just go in and write something for somebody else, in this case Spielberg, who probably does have that draw, let's face it. So yeah, truly engaging script writing and truly engaging storytelling, beautifully woven by Spielberg. Wonderful performance by Hanks. Truly, truly fabulously interesting performance by Mark Rylance as the spy. And it's interesting, isn't it? It's just interesting. This is the sort of film only Spielberg can probably make and be this sort of well crafted. Amy Ryan plays Tom Hanks' wife, and Alan Alda plays Tom Hanks' boss at the law firm. Although they're certainly side characters and not to the level of true supporting actors, if you will. Because this is Hanks' movie, and Rylance's is the sole, really, main supporting. It's hit with a beautiful sort of tingling score from Thomas Newham, heavy on the, beautifully woven on the piano, and yes, I just to say because you engage every moment. I was truly engaged. That's my word of the day, isn't it? Engaged in this film, and I don't quite know what else more I can say about the film other than praise it. I certainly do want this film to be in the running for, particularly with awards, because I do think it's great subject matter. It's highly entertaining. I think it manages to entertain and, in a certain way, educate in certain ways about certain practices and certain things about the Cold War and things like that. About the Soviet area at the time, being to do with East and West Germany, because there's a bit where they go to Germany. I won't say why or what capacity, but yeah, that is beautifully designed as well. That sort of environment, beautiful set locations. Once again, for the time period as well, in the America bit, it looks fabulously believable as a timepiece. So, yeah, all round, I film that I truly enjoyed watching, and would certainly recommend that you seek it out because I believe you won't be disappointed in it. It's a combination of all great things that American cinema can bring us, and it's no surprise it's coming from two of the icons of that industry in Hanks and Spielberg. So yeah, there we go. Bridge of Spies was my cinematic release film of the week. Please seek it out. My classic film of the week is what makes this particular edition a Tom Hanks special. Now, as we've been discussing, Hanks is one of those actors who is in a way, he's not he's an all-American icon, isn't he? And there's a reason why. It's because he has such engaging performances. And let's face it, particularly it was really 90s onwards, really, but he did have a couple at the late 80s. I think it was Big was probably Big was his big one. But so I could have chosen one of many sort of significant Tom Hanks performances. What I've decided to go with is one that has probably been most relied upon him as an actor and a performance. And the film is Castaway. Like I say, the reason I've chose it is because you are pretty much on screen with him for 3/4 of the film. That's not to say that other people don't get looking. In fact, there's quite a significant opening segment, 20 minutes or so, and also an end segment of around nearly half an hour. I think it was it's easily 25 minutes or something like that. So you do get. I probably spoiled a little bit for you. No, I won't say, but the majority of the film you are effectively watching him in a performance that is just absolute genius, in my opinion, and truly wonderfully portrayed. What the film revolves around is Tom Hanks's FedEx employee who goes around the world teaching other countries how to deal with their post, effectively, and deal with their delivery services and how to better themselves. So he's a character who is sort of always on the road. He does have a girlfriend played by Helen Hunt. He does. After being in this particular case, at the beginning of the film in Russia, he goes home to spend time with her at Christmas. During Christmas dinner with all the family, he gets a page, because pages were all the rage in the 90s. That is going to have to be going out again. There's a look of consignment between them, like, yeah, Okay, let's sort this out. So then they go through each other's diaries to see when the next be together and so on and so forth. So he's quite a hectic individual in life, and it could be very much said that his personal life is affected by this, and maybe his work does intrude upon it. Upon him going on this call out to another job, the plane that he's on hits trouble and hits storms. The plane goes down in a truly eye-popping, even though it's sort of an attack on all the senses, and an absolute nightmare for anybody who's scared of flying, or who's not been on a plane and possibly maybe have trepidations about it. This beginning of this film is not going to help you at all. So, but yeah, like I say, the plane crashes. He has managed to attach himself to a lifeboat, and he then drifts upon an island, upon which he is then forced to survive for himself. There you go, that's the premise of the film. And from there on in, it is all about him achieving survival, really, isn't it? Survival. And it's other than being, I must say quickly, it's a fabulous advertising opportunity for FedEx. Beautifully played, my friends. It's very often I say about somebody's sort of product placement, but it interweaves with the story perfectly well. So, yep, FedEx is on show prominently. And it's interesting because obviously the ability to show somebody who is such, and let's face it, this is sort of an example of sort of all of us in this situation, you know, in certain ways, of us that are so technologically reliant, suddenly being absolutely stranded with absolutely nothing at your disposal. I mean, absolutely nothing, because the plane goes down, the plane is lost. Every now and then, because of the tide, FedEx parcels actually wash up on shore, so he opens some of these parcels and see what he can use for them. So he finds a few little items he can find. There's a bit, unfortunately, where he discovers a body of one of the cabin crew or pilots it was, and he's forced to do a decision. He does bury the body, but he's sort of salvaging things off the body, which kind of disgusts him. He disgusts himself with what he's doing, but he does what he needs to do. But this film is not all grim, by the way, and this is a true testament to Hanks's performance, because, like I say, we've already mentioned some of the grim aspects of the film, and there's particular moments where he's trying to find there's coconuts falling from trees, but they're in like a massive casing. I don't mean just the sort of furry brown coconut, I mean like a proper casing like a fruit would be, but he can't get into, so he's hitting them against rocks, he's throwing them at rock walls, and it's just hilarious because you can see exactly that's what you would do as well. He's just, right, how do we do this? Wait a minute, I've got no tools at all available to me. He gets a rock, eventually he smashes the rock so hard, he actually destroying the rock more than actually opening the coconut. So much so it actually sharpens a bit of the rock, so he's like, maybe I can chop this now. And it's really, really funny. It's brilliantly funny. His frustration, because it's recognisable in, as like I say, something you would be doing. But yeah, there's very funny moments. There's eventually a bit where we all know. I think all I'm gonna say is Wilson. Oh, Wilson. He's a character all to himself, isn't he? And once again, you know what? This is the brilliantness of the storytelling, and Hanks's problem is that becomes such an important character in the film. And I'm not joking about this. I'm being very, very serious about this, because come on, I'm sorry, anybody who's watched this film and knows what goes on with Wilson. How's that not emotional? That's an emotional moment. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah. But Robert Zemeckis is the director, who's obviously like another collaborator. I'd worked with Tom Hanks previously on Forrest Gump, so he knows what to get out of his actor. And the only thing I want to say about the film, is a little moment in the film, beginning when he's on a little raft, and a whale. It's like a obviously where the sprays at the at the blowhole, and he sort of looks up and sees a whale sort of risen, and he's like sort of like looking at him, and it just felt a bit weird. I don't know. It just seemed very much out of place for the film. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But you know, this is a film of fabulous emotion and oh my god, the ending. Oh my word, because that's after all what has gone through. You know, I can't describe it in case you've not seen the film, but that ending. Oh my word, what is losing twice and things like that, and there's anger. There's sadness, and there's comedy. There's drama. There's little bits of scary bits right at the beginning of the film when he's unsure of noises he's hearing and things that from the island, and he wasn't sure what they are. So it's very tense at the beginning. But like I say, it's broken up by moments of emotion and comedy. And it's just a truly engaging performance by Hanks and a great film by Robert Zemeckis. And it's quite probably a testament to his performance that this sort of film has not really been done too often, and if it has, it's been done very sparingly. Because this once again is another long film. It's 2 hours 23 minutes, so he knows how to use a screen, Hanks. That's it. He knows how to use the whole screen. In the time available to him. So fabulous film, Castaway, I believe, and I think it's an absolute credit to both, like I say, Hanks and Zemeckis of bringing this sort of film and make it almost I think of the word now. Unimitatable. That's the word I'm looking for. Because other than even seen The Martian recently, where it had hints of Castaway, there's not really been too many things done like it. If it has been, like I say, it's been shorter films and it's done a bit more straight on the nose, where this is a bit more character driven. So yeah, fabulous film, Castaway. That's my classic film of the week. My theatrical release film of the week, of course, was Bridge of Spies, and those films both made it's a Tom Hanks special. I do thank you for watching if you have. I hope you have enjoyed, and if you do subscribe, please subscribe to me. Otherwise, I do hope to see and speak to you again. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.